right.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And there may be other people that come in as we move forward. I know a lot of people are on vacation right now, so that may have something to do with it. Um, and I just want to recognize Brennan because she's on for it with us today, and she is the FAM Foundation chair. Thank you, Brennan, for joining us.
Yep, happy to
Um,
be
and
here.
and showing your face to us so that people can see who is. And then Laura, do you want me to? I'm just going to jump in. I'll introduce you for a change instead of you introducing me. How about that? So I'm Melinda
All right.
Horton. I'm the executive director for FAM. I have been here since 1989 as earlier as the assistant director and then became the actual FAM director in 95. So I've been here a long time, met most everybody, but some people, we constantly are getting new people, which is great to the field. And Laura is our program manager. So if you see our workshops, our webinars, the annual conference program, she's always busy working on that. If you have any ideas or suggestions, we're always open for new ideas. And she was just telling me that we've got some great things planned. So I'm going to recognize you for a second, Laura, and you can talk about what's coming down the road from us.
Okay. First, I just want to sort of introduce what we're going to have for August, which will be our webinar called Too Many Cooks, Managing Exhibits with Small Teams and Big Boards. That's going to be on August 18th at 11 o'clock. The speakers for that are going to be Cheyenne Leahy and Laura Marion from the Governor's House in St. Augustine. It's going to explore how to successfully curate exhibits from start to finish while working with the constraints of a small team. So that's going to be a really great one. Um, Obviously, in September, we're going to have our conference, so hope everybody can make it to that. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. September, October, we're looking at possibly doing a webinar on traveling exhibitions. November, we're taking a break, and then in December, we're going to do one on summer camps again, like we did last year, but it'll be a little bit different format. So I think that'll be really interesting. Um, I'd also like to just thank our partners today. Florida Humanities, Florida Arts and Culture, and Visit Florida. So I think that's everything we got coming down the pike until January, which we do have some stuff coming up next year, but I'll talk about 2027 later.
Okay. Thank you, Laura.
Welcome.
So I'm just going to do like a quick recap about FAM and the FAM Foundation, just because not everybody knows why we have two organizations, how they operate, and also then just talk about some of our resources, what we provide, and I'm going to open it up for people in case people have ideas, things. We're always looking for new things to do if we have the funding available. So as with everyone, it depends what's out there for us to be able to use as resources. So I said a little bit about how long I've been here. FAM started as a very small group of museum directors meeting annually, typically in the Orlando Maitland area, and sitting around a pool and talking about what what they were facing in their jobs, what they could do to collaborate, and did we need to organize FAM? And finally, in 1986, that group got together and FAM was incorporated through SunBiz as a nonprofit organization. For those of you that don't know, in 86 was when the Internal Revenue Service was really scrutinizing nonprofits. So when we applied for our C3 status, it was declined and we were provided a C6 status, which is a nonprofit membership type organization. So the only bad thing about that was it meant that we couldn't apply for state and federal grants because we needed a C3. So basically, the FAM arm is the membership arm, the advocacy arm, and then we work in conjunction with the FAM Foundation, which was created in 1991. We went to attorneys back then, asked them how we should handle it. They said they thought it would be cleaner to create a separate organization, which is what the board worked on doing. So we created the FAM Foundation, which is the educational arm. You'll have to excuse these pictures. I'm going to replace it with some of our own, but these were great pictures to fit in at in a crunch because I was having issues getting things to load properly. But the FAM Foundation was created in 91, incorporated, and we then applied for C3 status, which we were approved. And that is now the educational arm of FAM. We do all of the workshops, webinars, annual conference, all of the educational programming that helps with capacity building and professional development. And we work separately. So FAM has its own board. The FAM Foundation has its own board. We do share treasurers because it provided continuity. It made sense when you were coming up with budgets. We both have separate budgets. The FAM Foundation is able to apply for state and federal and foundation grants. FAM is more of the membership, the revenue stream in other areas, the expo, that type of thing, and doesn't go for any type of grants unless it's something particular that is allowed in that category. So that's how we ended up with two different organizations. They work very closely together. We meet jointly sometimes we meet separately. We have a joint strategic plan. It just kind of makes it work well. And so far, I know in the 2000s, we some of the board members wanted to know if it would be better to merge the two. We got an opinion from an attorney that was experienced in nonprofit law, and he said, "Why fix something that's not broken? Leave them separate." So that's what we did, and that's how we've maintained the two organizations. As I mentioned earlier, our staff, I'm a contract executive director. Laura is a contract program manager. And y'all will meet Daniel, those of you that can attend the conference. He will be at the conference in September. He does all of our marketing. So he is also a contractor. He does our social media. He does our e-blasts. And then we have a separate company, NetWeave, who does our Facebook, Instagram, but we all work very closely together so that we try to keep it smooth. Daniel's really great about creating our PowerPoints. He is great at branding, so he brands everything, helps us with the conference branding, and he makes sure that our e-blasts go out on time, that our website is updated regularly. He's been a huge addition to our team and really makes it run a lot smoother. We're doing a much better job at marketing ourselves more often and regularly than we did before he came on board. So I look forward to y'all getting to meet him. He also does work for the Florida Attractions Association and some of the other associations that we partner with often. So that kind of makes it nice because he gets what we do and we didn't have to kind of start from scratch and teach him everything. And then our FAM board. So we have our FAM board, you'll notice, is from all over the state, starts in Pensacola, goes all the way to Key West, St. Augustine, Amelia Island. We try to have people that are, most of the people that serve on the FAM board are directors or CEOs. We'll have a few that aren't sometimes, but we try to make sure we have geographic representation, budget size representation, type of museum representation. It just makes it run a lot smoother when it's that way. And we do have term limits. So you'll see some people that you've seen for a while, but they may have rolled off and rolled back on, or they roll off and go to the foundation eventually. But there's some key organizations that we will always have representation from, for instance, in Tallahassee. We're always going to have people from Tallahassee because it's the state capital and we've got to have those people that can make contacts for us. We're always going to have somebody in Key West. We're always going to have somebody in Pensacola. The in-between cities are a little easier, but we try to make sure we have broad representation. And for the FAM Foundation board, it's the same way. The difference in the FAM Foundation board is you don't have to be the CEO. You don't have to work necessarily in a museum. You can work in conjunction with a museum, or you can be like with Miriam, who used to be at the Smithsonian. She's now retired, but she's a great resource. You might be a vendor member that's part of FAM Foundation. It's just a much broader scope and it brings a broader area of expertise in. Maybe we've got a person who's great in marketing and they serve on the Fan Foundation board. It just gives us a way to bring more people in that are like-minded, but not necessarily working within a museum at that time. But maybe they are very involved in museums, or they serve on the board of a museum, or they, like I said, they may be, a vendor type, corporate type relationship with museums. So you see the list of the Fan Foundation board. So I guess a great question is, why be a member? Why be a part of FAM? What good does it do you? It provides you lots of professional development opportunities. One of our main goals is to make sure that we provide professional development to museum staff from all levels, so that we continue to provide those excellent experiences at our organizations that are so important, whether it's be a school group, whether it's retired people, whether it's senior center, whatever it is. We want to make sure that our staffs and our leadership are very well informed and stay up with times. It's all about building capacity and making sure that we're doing what we need to do. It's also a great way for statewide networking. When you come to the FAM conference, or when you go to a consortium, you see people from different areas. I know this past year, when we did our consortium at the Florida Children's Museum in Lakeland, Hollis came from Gainesville. She didn't, she said, I wanted to go to another area and meet the people in that area. So it doesn't restrict you in where you come from, but she was able to see a museum she wouldn't typically get to see. Plus, she met leaders from the Orlando, St. Petersburg, Tampa area that she might not always see because she's in Gainesville. So networking is key to the success of our organization, I believe. And it's also a key to the success of our different institutions. Collaboration is fundamental to me. It's a requirement. One of our huge things that we do is we provide advocacy. We advocate on the state level. We stay informed on the federal level. We try to keep all of our members up to date. I talk regularly with the Department of State, Division of Historical Resources, and Division of Arts and Culture. Just yesterday, I received an email. I'm so thrilled to see that they're looking for 7 panelists this year for each grants panel. We're going back to where we used to be. For a couple of years, we've only had a couple of panelists because of the different leadership in areas that we've had to work around. So I'm excited to see that we're going to go back to having full panels again, and having a full slot of panels, so that maybe you're only reading 30 grants instead of, how many did you read, Brennan? 90 or something crazy?
Well, yeah, it was I think there 60, and I did 2 different panels. So
Right.
it was crazy.
And
I did just sign up because they said 30, so I just signed up.
Good. I think I read 45, and originally I was in music and I got moved to dance. That was interesting. Whole new area for me, but we were struggling to get panelists, and we just needed to get it done. So if you've not been a panelist and you're interested, reach out to the Division of Arts and Culture. They're looking for great people right now, and I think it's really helpful in being a better grant writer and in understanding what our arts and cultural field and preservation field really offers out there. It's pretty amazing what people do with tiny budgets. So I encourage you to do that. We also, as it says, we look for grants that may be available to our organization, which provides us the opportunity to do additional programs, but we also watch out for grants that may be a benefit to museums and cultural organizations around the state. We do an annual awards program, which is right now open for submissions, and we will do those presentations at the FAM conference. And we just, we really try to provide anything we can to our members so that it's a benefit to be a dues paying member. You'll see there's a reduced amount of registration fee for the conference, that type of thing. And right now, we hope to continue offering our workshops and webinars for free. It may get to a time where we have to go back to charging for those, but right now we've been able to, with the support from the state and some other grants we've received, we've been able to offer those for free, which is what we really would like to do. FAM provides greater visibility for your institution through programs. It provides knowledge that we exist. We're one of the larger state museum associations in the U.S. I think we're in the top 5. So it definitely provides more visibility for your institution. We also partner, you'll see later, with AAM on certain projects. And as I mentioned, you get discounts on conference registration in our programs. So if we decide to hopefully do another salary survey one day, members will definitely get a break on the salary survey results compared to non-members. So we try to make it, there be some great benefits to being a FAM member. And as you can see, we have 3 different types of membership: institutional, affiliate, corporate, and individual. Those are pretty self-explanatory. I know Laura and I have talked about launching a special join as an individual member, trying to get 40 new members for 40 years of operation. So that will be launching, I think, within probably the next month. And maybe what we'll do is we'll do a drawing or something, so that if for the 40 people, we'll draw a free registration to the conference or something like that. We'll make it fun so that it's a benefit. But what I like about it is you can be an institutional member, but if you leave that institution, that your membership stays with that institution. If you're an individual member, it goes with you anywhere you are. So, and it's, it's probably the least expensive thing you can pay for. $50 for a year is a steal. So we'll be looking at putting out some information about the different membership levels. We'll also be working on corporate and affiliate memberships by reaching out to our museums to find out who they work with every day when they provide services to museums. And as I already mentioned, we do workshops and webinars. We try to find people from within the field, but also from other states that come and share their expertise with us. They've been very successful. Laura's done a great job putting together workshops and webinars this year. I know we have some ideas with Brennan and Miriam for the future for a series of workshops that would deal with governance type nonprofit management, which is always a huge topic. We also try to do stuff that relates to insurance, advocacy, collections care, and it may be an opportunity in the future to do another grant through that deals with emergency planning. We've got a whole segment on our website, which I'll talk about later, that deals with creating an emergency plan. So we try to really mix up our workshops and webinars. We also do the meetups with the different types of positions that people work in museums. I know that Brennan and I have talked about doing a CEO type webinar every 2 to 3 months, so that the CEOs are staying in touch. They have a sounding board, a place that's safe for them to talk to their colleagues to see what's going on around the state and how they handle great situations or difficult situations. So those are all things we'll look at in the future. Like I mentioned earlier, if you've got an idea for a great workshop or webinar, please let us know. We are always looking for topics. And then the annual conference. It's our 40th anniversary. It will be held September the 22nd through the 25th in West Palm Beach at the Marriott there. It'll be 3 days of educational sessions with keynote speakers, general sessions, lots of opportunities for networking. We're trying to expand our expo hall this year, and early bird registration should hopefully open, if not today, tomorrow morning. I'm putting the finishing touches on the preliminary program. And as you can tell, we have a great rate of $300. In the preliminary materials, it'll show how many lunches are included, how many breakfasts, the evening events, that type of thing. We try not to nickel and dime. We try to make it all one fee. And then we have a great rate for students at $240 for the conference. I know there've been some questions whether or not we're going to offer stipends this year. We're still waiting to see. If we ever get the grants finalized, then we'll know whether or not we can do that. Hopefully we can. And then as you can also see, the host hotel group rate is $159 a night, which is a great value for the West Palm Beach Marriott, which has just gone through a complete renovation of their sleeping rooms and their meeting space. And our meeting space will all be on one floor in one area, which makes it really great. Plus, we will do the 40th anniversary kickoff party in the courtyard outside of the Marriott. So that'll be a lot of fun. Resources. So if you haven't been on the website, you need to get on there and look. There's a resource tab under professional development. There's different topics that relate to collections, emergency planning, fundraising and development, historic preservation, marketing, and social media. And under there, we have uploaded or shared resource materials that we've collected for each webinar that we've done. Some of those were funded, a few years ago. One of them was a complete series of how to create an emergency plan or how to update an emergency plan. I encourage you to look at that. There are some great materials there that will help you even enhance what you've already got. And there's also information about our mentorship program, which are the stipends for the conference. And when funding is available, we offer a peer coaching program, which is basically say I need help with my strategic plan in my organization. I reach out, I fill out this very simple form. I provide it to FAM. FAM looks for someone who's really good at strategic planning, like Brennan or Miriam or Russell or one of my great board members. And then I get you guys together. Maybe they come spend a day with you. We may provide an honorarium. We'll provide travel costs to whoever goes, and they can spend some time and then give you a report afterwards. It's just a great way to get access to some of our colleagues around the state who have expertise in areas that maybe we don't have it in, or maybe we're struggling in. Hopefully we'll be able to offer a few of those this year. We're waiting to see about our funding, and then we'll know. But it's just a great opportunity. And it's also a great way, if you have an expertise for you to share, you can let us know that, I'm really great at collections care. And we'll put you down on the list. And if I get somebody who's struggling with their collections care, I might get y'all in touch so y'all can have a conversation. If nothing else, you can do it by Zoom online. So we really like to send the person to the facility for at least a half day or a full day. But if not, we can certainly do it remotely these days. And then, as I mentioned earlier, advocacy is key to FAM. To me, if we didn't advocate on behalf of our institutions, the grants would go away. I fully believe that. Years ago, I would have told you that wouldn't happen. Now, I really think it would, because it's such a volatile time. Things are up and down, just like you saw that we got vetoed a few years ago with our funding, which was unfortunate. But I think we have to constantly remind our elected officials, not just on the state level, but on the local level, who we are, what we do, and why we do it, and who we serve. So if you look at that, why it matters, we represent over 400 museums. I think there's actually 522 now. Probably need to change that to 500 plus. We drive an estimated 227,000 jobs and 59,000 businesses across Florida. We see over 31 million visitors that institutions do. They serve children. You serve, people with the underserved areas. I know that you offer free admission certain days. There's all kinds of ways. So we have to constantly remind our elected officials what we do, who we help, how we're serving our communities, which in turn serves our state and also provides an avenue for our tourism industry, which is our number one revenue generator in the state. We watch very closely cultural museum grant funding, cultural facilities, historic preservation. We track legislation during session. We have Greg Black, who is our contract lobbyist that helps me with our day-to-day, reminding legislators and specific leadership in the House and the Senate of what we're doing and how we're touching people's lives. We partner with Visit Florida and all of our Tourism Day partners, Florida Attractions, Florida Restaurant and Lodging, Florida Campgrounds and RV Parks, all of those different organizations, so that we can do a tourism day, which is much larger than just a museum day. And then we also, as it shows, we also support AAM for their advocacy day in DC. We're always a sponsor of that day or a partner. We contact legislators on everybody's behalf. We ask you to contact your legislators, and we give you little blurbs of what you need to say. So it's just a great way to bring everybody together, because one united voice is so much important than one single voice. I think one of the important things is to remember, as you work on your local level, your school board, your county commission, your city commission, your council members, whatever you call them, those people need to know what you're doing on your local level, but they also may one day be your legislators. They also be your congressmen and women. So if you teach them way back when they're first starting, then as they move up, they remember who you are. If you get to know their staff, a lot of times their staff go with them as they move up the political chain. So it's best to get to know them now in the beginning, so that as they move into leadership positions, then you're more likely to get in and get to talk to them. It's also more important to talk to them when they're at home than when they're in Tallahassee, because they got a million people talking to them when they're in Tallahassee. So advocacy is a key resource and a key avenue that FAM takes very seriously. What can you do for FAM? If you're interested in being a board member, reach out and let me know. I'm always looking for board members. I just talked to somebody 2 days ago who told me they were ready to be a board member. We are always looking for new blood. We are always looking for new leadership. We're looking for ways to change the field, and that just makes a big difference. Host a consortium. They're a lot of fun. If you haven't been to one, try to attend our next one, which hopefully maybe we'll have one in the fall around the holidays. It's a great way to see the behind the scenes of an institution, meet your colleagues from the area, and we'll do like a little meet and greet. I know we went to the one in Lakeland. We got to see Florida Children's Museum. I remember when Florida Children's Museum was Explorations 5. It was a teeny tiny storefront in a strip area like downtown. Now it's this wonderful, huge institution out on this beautiful park. I'm so impressed with everything Carrie's done, and it's just so rewarding to see an institution that started out so small and now what they're doing and the impact they're having in their area. So I encourage you to, if you haven't, to go to a consortium or host a consortium. Sponsor an event or an activity. If you've got like I said, if you've got a great idea for a workshop or a webinar, we can do an in-person workshop. We're happy to do that. Come to your area, have it at your institution, get to show off your institution and bring people in to look at what you're doing. Donate to the silent auction. Like I said, present a webinar or workshop, and also advocate, always advocate. What can FAM do for you? So I wanted to open it up to see if there were ideas of things that you would like that would make your life better or easier. Are there things that we haven't done? Are there things that we used to do and we haven't done lately? Just an idea of anything that you'd like to see us do, or something that you might like to help us with. Laura, don't come up with any ideas.
I've got a list.
I
So,
know you do. You
I
always
guess
have a list.
because nobody's saying anything, that means we're doing everything perfect.
We're perfect. Y'all, yeah, I can tell y'all something funny. So because it's our